Well, I think we're live here in beautiful Kimberley, British Columbia. I'm here with a couple of fellow Spartans. So I've got Austin Douglas with me, who just did his first ever Spartan race. And I also got Terry Dorge here. How you doing, Terry? Look at you, shirtless. First shirtless man in the video we've ever seen.
I'm doing fantastic, thank you.
When in Kimberley, do as they do, I guess. Something along those lines. So we're crushing a couple of
post-race beers.
Post-race beers, I guess. I didn't race today. Neither did Terry, but Terry ran about 26, 27 miles yesterday and did the ultra.
31.1.
31.1 miles.
That's the total.
Absolute insanity, as I must say. So he did 2 laps of the course that I did, and I can say how much that actually just tore a piece of me as I went through of it. So I went through and I was climbing up, and there were a couple points where I was just down on life and down on luck. I don't know how you did that twice through and actually made it back to the start. So congrats on that, boys.
Thank you.
What was the best race moment both of you two had?
For me, hitting the obstacles. I mean, I've never done it before.
Since we're just starting, I'm going to get you to put the mic just closer to your mouth.
Yeah,
just
problem.
about 6 inches away.
How's that?
Yeah, right there. That's good. Just right on the stomach. See, we're doing it real classy
Gotta get
today.
That pot belly going.
Yeah, pot belly. We got the beer bellies going tonight, so it'll be perfect.
Yeah, honestly, for me, it was just the obstacles. Like, I've never done this before. I knew the running obviously was going to be an obstacle of its own, but yeah, it was nice to get them all done. Other than that, spirit toss at the end, but
it was so close.
Yeah, I did
so
good.
Close.
I got, whatever, 7 out of 8 obstacles. How many are there?
You had way more than 8 obstacles, bro.
Well,
Yeah,
there's a lot.
There's only. It feels like less because there's only so many that you can fail on.
Yeah.
But in the super, there's 15.
At least 15.
At least 15.
Yeah.
I think there was probably around 20 at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus the mountain itself.
But there's something awesome to just be out on a mountainside and in the fresh air. There was a couple times where I just caught myself looking across the way and seeing the mountains in the background.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, there was a couple times I turned around, take a look at the view.
yeah, I had a mantra for the race yesterday, and it was flow, fierce, and fun. And the third one being fun because I wanted to focus on the first 2 and make sure that I was in the race. So just trying to get in that state of flow, which just working hard, but also just in the race and in the mindset and feeling competitive, but also just on the other side, just enjoying it too. It's that bridge between enjoyment and competition that I think really works. And then the fierce parts were some of those hikes and just making sure that I was pushing as hard as I could, which for me, it was a little bit tough. I found out it just felt heavy on those climbs.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a lot of work for me.
Yeah, I'm sure most people felt pretty heavy on some of those climbs.
Well, a bunch of prairie dwellers like us trying to be on a mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, when it's tough, I think, coming from Winnipeg and you don't have that exposure to the mountains and climbing and doing all those things. I mean, we have a little bit of hiking, but it's not something that's easily accessible every day.
Yeah, you got to go kind of out of your way to get to some of the like even close to the training.
I'd also talk right into the front of the mic. So almost, yeah, there you go.
How's that? Am I doing it right now?
Top. You got it.
Oh my God,
Imagine you're licking an ice cream cone.
It's been such a process to learn, I think, for myself and Jace, my co-host.
Yeah.
And even since the beginning, it
doesn't pick it up that well then.
Well, it does. It's just you want to make sure it's in front of you, so it's not picking up from the other parts of the room. And I'm just loud, so
that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm not the loudest talker ever.
No, that's fair.
A couple of mumbly joes.
Mumbles. Full mumbles.
Mumbly joes.
Yeah. But no, there are so many amazing moments just being out there, and I even had good conversations with people out on the track and made a couple friends. That one girl that was running the ultra and the open heat tests, helping her over the stairway to Spartan. So the very, very top of the mountain, you've basically climbed, I think somebody said it was 5,500 feet when you're going up and down. And so you're at 5,500 feet. You're literally the most you've ever climbed in the mountain. And there's maybe there's a bucket carry where you have to go up after, but that's the peak. You literally reach the summit. Everything's downhill from there. You know it's the home stretch. And I helped this girl named Tess. Leading up to that, we were running side by side, and then she asked for a boost up the 6-foot wall so she could grab on and climb over. And then she was off on her way, and I think she finished first in
the
all
women's age
females.
group, yeah.
Really?
Which,
Wow.
Yeah, because she caught up to me after, because I was there when you helped her up that wall, and then she caught up, and we were kind of pacing each other for a little while. I ended up losing her on the downhill, though.
oh, we're still good. I'm just checking these levels. This is the first time I've ever had to do the audio and video, so if the quality is shit, it's all my fault. Don't blame Chase for this one. But yeah, no, this weekend has been so fun too. I think the fact that we're so far away from home. I mean, a bunch of prairie boys out here, and we got Tristan and Tony and a couple others with us. And so Jarrett and Ashleigh, hi. How you doing? How's life?
Well, I haven't sunburned yet, so.
No sunburns. I think we're getting close.
I'm on the verge of heat stroke.
Yeah, the 2 hours of chess that we just played out in the sunshine,
Probably not
was
the
a
best
thinking
idea.
man's game, but
I mean-
by the end of it, I don't know if anybody had conscious thoughts anymore. So that's that might be a complete struggle. So maybe as the first real question, what got both of you into Spartan races? I'll start with you, Terry. What drew you towards the Spartan community and obstacle course racing and training for it?
Well, I was already training at such a high level, and I don't play any sports or anything like that. So working at a gym where people are being trained as professional athletes, it's like, well, maybe I should do something with the abilities that I've kind of created for myself. And the only thing I really like doing is climbing on shit. So I started doing the Mud Heroes. I've done those for the past 4 years. So this year I missed it because we're here, obviously. But yeah, I've done the past few years of Mud Heroes. I was getting better and better and better each time. And then I heard about the Spartan race, and I did the one that came to Winnipeg in 2015, but then they never came back. So I was like, if this is something that I want to take on, it's something I have to acknowledge that I'm going to be traveling for. So I kind of set in my mind, okay, I'm going to do the Beast in Montana. And I specifically trained for the Beast for about 3 months straight and went out there and did it. I got 42nd overall and had a great time. Like, just got this feeling at the finish line, and like being around all of like the top Spartan athletes from North America. It was like this just incredible thing you can't even describe.
Yeah,
It's like
pretty cool feeling.
I couldn't wait to get back here to the mountains.
Yeah.
And it's like the next mountain. I can't wait to get back to the finish line of that next one.
That's kind of how I feel.
Or I guess maybe it'll be Iceland next time.
Yeah, that's how I feel
Well,
right now.
Terry qualified for the World Championships, the Ultra World
The
Championships
Ultra in Iceland.
in
Yeah.
Iceland. So could race with the best ultra runners out there
Yeah.
in a complete different country and
Well, just-
test his skills.
I'll just stand beside them.
Man, you finished 7th. That's in itself, and the fact that you're out there and finished is already crazy. But
Yeah.
then to have a top 10 and just be that into it is amazing. Oh, we got a couple of joiners with us. So we got Tristan and Tony coming in here. A couple of other Spartans.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, we're doing good looking now.
Good, good.
We're doing great.
We're doing great.
Live podcast is going to be the most informal one we've ever done. We're going to chock the room full. If you guys have any stories to tell,
Oh, wow.
grab one of the mics
Yeah,
and
grab
we'll
a
just
seat beside
throw
us.
you-
guys
throw you
definitely
into
have
the
lots to
mix
talk
here.
about.
There's a beer in the fridge if you
I
want.
wish we had 5 mics going, but there's only so many I could fit into the 2 bags that I brought with me. That half of it's gear. So we're going through our Spartan story. So I guess we could chalk that up and see what happens too. But I know Austin, you just got involved with it, and this was your first race today.
Yeah, today was my first race. I actually give credit to Terry for getting me into it. I've been working with Terry for a little while now, and I used to be a hockey player, and I kind of same deal. I mean, I was training, and I never wanted to stop training competitively because it was just something I've always loved to do is train hard. And then Terry kind of told me all about the Spartan racing thing, and I figured why not give it a shot, and it worked out pretty good. I did pretty well.
Top 10
So-
finish.
Top 10 finish. I can't say that. That's not on my resume yet, but it's funny because I would say very similar things to me and Terry brought us into sport, and even yourself, where it's you're trying to find that competitive drive and you train, but it gives purpose to that training. And so I had a similar thing where I was hoping that they were going to bring the Spartan race to Winnipeg last year, and I had signed up my name and I was all gung ho and have something to train for, because I'd done Mud Hero and taken it semi seriously. It did give me a little bump in my training, but then last year when it didn't pan out, it was again that now what I'd played a bunch of recreational sports, so football and dodgeball, but there's just something about the competitive drive. It's there in those things, but you don't feel it the same way. And so, yeah, I mean, having that team mentality is great, but Spartan Racing. So then when I decided that I'd do the Super and Red Deer last month, it was, all right, let's focus in. I have something to train for. Where can I get my fitness to that I'm going to feel prepared for this race? And even a month before the race, I switched into the elite heat because I was feeling great, and I was going twice a day and running more than I ever have. And then it's just led me on this journey. And it's cool to have all of us here. There's a Winnipeg community, and we're out here in Kimberley, BC, on the mountainside, and all of us are driven. And Mikhail, who we had on the podcast a couple weeks ago, won twice this weekend, which is absolutely crazy. But it's awesome that the Prairie Boys can represent even in the mountains. So it's cool. Really enjoy it. What's the best conversation? Is there anything funny that happened in the course?
Funny?
Funny? Some guy farted in front of me, and I said, "Oh, those ducks again." So that was maybe my number one. Couple of quacks.
Couple of quacks. Some flying ducks.
That was pretty good.
So Anthony came into the finish line after finishing the beast yesterday, and I was recording his finish after he snagged his spear. And he came in a little bit hot after finishing off that slip wall, and the lady was holding out the medal nice and proud, and he decided to, like a bull, headbutt the medal lady. And we got it on camera, and it was pretty fantastic. I don't know. That was a highlight
awesome.
of me.
That was
my
pretty great.
race.
You know what wasn't a highlight?
The fact that I had to do burpees and all of you didn't.
I already posted that on my Instagram story, and I got an FU in there too. But
Yeah, that's
all
okay.
fun.
Tristan missed his spear throw for the first time ever, so that's
Hey.
that's worth it.
I didn't
You know
know
what?
that.
The
Yeah, I
race
missed
was
my
great,
first one
and the
ever,
burpees
so-
were good. So
Yeah.
Yeah, Austin had to do a couple burpees at the end today too.
Oh, that was
so-
a killer.
Yeah.
Killed him.
Went
But-
the whole race without burpees, and then
I'm crossing my fingers because I literally, the last time I threw a spear before Red Deer, I missed a bunch of times. I think I was 1 for 5 in my last 5 tosses. That's not the type of confidence you want going in. But after I'd done 2 sets of burpees in Red Deer and got to that obstacle, I had the eye of the tiger, and I hit that dead center, and I sprint to the finish, do the fire jump, and I was super excited about it. And then even yesterday, I ran a clean race yesterday for the first time. But again, at that spear throw, it was that moment of terror where you're like, I don't want to have to do burpees at the end of climbing this mountain for the past 4.5, almost 5
those
hours.
burpees at the end there nearly killed me.
Well, then
you guys saw me take a kneel there.
then you still got the other hill, and then the bucket carry to finish.
Yeah, the
us off.
bucket carry. I was like,
That uphill battle
It's
was
like-
like the worst out of everything, and it was only 100 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was ready to toss in the towel.
Well, you're right at the end. You're right at the end. You know it's so close.
That's it.
Yeah.
Back to Winnipeg.
It was good though. It's always good to have like throwing a challenge in the mix, especially if you
Yeah.
like. I've consistently run clean races like my entire Spartan
Mhm.
career, if you want to call it that, except for the last 2, and it just gives you a whole new perspective, which is good.
Yeah, definitely.
It's still a challenge. Like there's always ways to improve, which
Yeah.
is kind of the fun reason why I like the sport. So
So obviously all of us are here because we have passion for health and fitness. Tristan, you're the head trainer of Orange Theory Fitness. Health and fitness, but we're currently drinking beers. But I think
Hey,
it's
that's all
important.
right.
I have electrolytes. Thank you very much.
You have electrolytes. Yeah, Tristan's being a good boy. It's all right.
We've been eating good all day.
Too much.
We deserve a couple.
Yeah, we've been eating good. We've been running around. I think it's important, though, to celebrate your accomplishments
Yeah.
is one thing. And I think we've
That
done a
was a-
very good job
was a
of
hell
that
of a
this
journey.
weekend.
I concur.
Well, this is some of the fun parts of it where you just get lost in the trip a little bit, too. I mean, we just came from having dinner. We've been jaunting around. We had some gelato after, too.
Then we had like a half-naked game of street chess with a
Street
push-up.
chess.
Street chess.
I like that.
It was one of those big block chess games on the street, and we had a
Yes.
push-up
Yeah.
penalty for
You
losing.
guys
So
are just keeping it street.
yeah,
Chess game.
yeah, we'll keep it
Yeah.
street.
Keep it
Yeah.
street.
Keeping it
Keep
street.
it 100.
Dangerous white boys in Kimberley.
So dangerous.
I'm so glad there was no.
I mean, it was
bystanders.
the second time my clothes came off today.
That is true. I feel like none of us were wearing anything though.
It happens far too easily. That Hawaiian shirt is just barely hanging on.
Yeah, I mean, my shirt's a button up. As you can all see, it's still the same one. I am on the search for the world's best flamingo shirt, and I think I'm getting close. So
Pretty
we'll,
close.
we'll see. I don't know how much better I can do than
Well,
this
that one only has one button that actually works.
Yeah, all the other ones have been torn off in an unfortunate accident.
Yeah.
So it has to be worn this way from now on.
We'll talk
So-
about that another time.
another time.
Another
Or
time.
Right now.
Or right
More,
now.
more
Is it
appropriate time.
important?
I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious now. What's
No,
the story?
there's all the buttons here. I put on the one so we could go into the restaurant and not get kicked out. It worked out. We all had delicious burgers, except for I did. Except for
You shoulda had
I
it.
was steered clear. Yeah.
That's what you get for choosing schnitzel.
Yeah, that's what you get for getting the schnitzel.
Schnitzel.
When you are at what was it? Pedal and tap and pedal. Some bicycle out front. Just make sure you get
Tap
the
and pedal.
Tap and pedal. Just
Yep.
make sure you get the burger. Trust me on this one.
Pedal and tap. Whatever.
We're just gonna
One of those
There were bikes
combinations.
involved. That's all we need to know.
There's bikes involved and people and whatever.
It was a good time.
And a little. Well, no, only one rum and coke there, but yeah, man, it's just nice to be. I think what I find with Winnipeg is it's a great place to live. There's amazing people there, but it's so nice to escape that Winnipeg bubble for a little bit and just see just the natural beauty of Canada and the rest of the world. So Terry, what's your other favorite place other than Winnipeg or Canada? Where's a favorite place you've been?
Well, Montana was pretty beautiful. I like the BC mountains here are great. The Rockies are wonderful. But when I went through Kalispell, when I was there for the Beast, like you just can't really describe what that place is like. It's like a little picturesque town in the middle of this mountain range.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of rolling around, and everywhere you look is like a painting. So it's like,
Montana is gorgeous.
and you just know that those mountains are just filled with like wild animals and just unknown stuff. So it's almost kind of mysterious on top of everything else too.
Yeah. There are a couple places. I went to Australia, was my big trip when I was in university. And there are a couple places there. Byron Bay is maybe my favorite place in the world. It was the first place I ever learned how to surf. And half the people there don't wear shoes because why would you if it's over 20 degrees all year round? But it was a beautiful place. And it was, I wish I would have been able to spend more time there, even live there for a couple months. But I was still in university and training for football, but we did some volunteering in Australia, and then the rest of it, we traveled the East Coast and did adventure tourism. So it was the first place I did bungee jumping and surfing and got to have a lot of different cool experiences that I'd never done before. And so a couple places. Fraser Island was really cool. We did a little bit of a hike around the coastline there. It's the biggest sand island, I believe, in the world. Just natural sand island. And a couple other places. Sydney was cool. It's just a coastal town. And obviously I think their capital, right? Australia's capital. And the volunteering we did was in Tasmania. So no other reason I'd be on the island part, like the separated part of Australia, but it was really cool. And I think traveling, it opens your perspective up and you get to meet people from all over it. This is cool to meet people from all places around Canada. And even beyond, I heard some Aussie accents and some English accents and some other people.
I met a couple Americans on the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always a good diversity.
It's cool how Spartan brings so many diverse people into it, but then also it's really driven and motivated people, and there's a lot of really fit, awesome people that just take it seriously, but I don't know, it's nice to surround yourself with like-minded people who just want that competition, but to be better. What I enjoyed about this one the most is that I put away a little bit of that competition with others and just said it's me against this mountain, and let's use each other to be better together. And I know that that's something they preach a little bit in Spartan, but I literally felt it where it was, let's feed off each other's energy, let's tell some jokes, let's whatever it is that'll help us get through, let's do that. And I thought that maybe I lost a couple places or went a little bit slower at times, but I got to enjoy it a little bit more. And yes, I'm taking it seriously and want to get through and didn't want to fail any obstacles and didn't. So I took strides, but it was cool just to be able to enjoy that atmosphere that way.
I completely agree. No, first thing I probably noticed coming out here was that everybody's just super humble, even the best guys, and like, it's just a great atmosphere. Everybody makes you feel better. Everybody's pushing everybody, and everybody's here for the right reasons.
Well, how did you feel that, in terms of the differences between hockey and this, what would you say the culture cultural differences are, or some of the I don't know, benefits or pitfalls between both of them.
Well, hockey in its own is a tight-knit community, but Spartan Racing has got its own thing going for it. It's just like I said, like everybody's here for everybody, and I didn't meet a single person this weekend that I didn't like, or that didn't make me feel inspired. So it's just it was a great thing. I'm super glad I got into it. I'm super glad I did it.
Well, the interesting thing about it is not like any other sport where it's like you have like team versus a team. And it's like the kind of mentality is like to kill the other team. It's like they're the enemy. You want to crush them.
That's true.
But like this is a competitive sport where
you don't get that.
You're going against other people, and if they're doing a little better than you or vice versa, it's like they're more cheering you on. It's like you said, you're more having a competition against yourself. Just as bad as you want to beat the guy who's in front of you and you want to put the best time up.
I don't think a single person on the mountain passed me, or that I passed that we didn't say like good job.
No,
keep going,
exactly.
Keep fighting, or even like what were you guys calling pace partners?
Pace buddies, I call
pace
them.
buddies.
Yeah.
Like that was the best thing ever. Like I was walking up one mountain one incline with a lady, and it was like just awesome how we both just stuck together, kept motivating each other, and got through it together basically.
Yeah, and what sport is there where the other opponents are helping each other?
Yeah.
I don't know of one.
In hockey, your opponents, I
Yeah.
beat a lot of them up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's people you want to fight, and meanwhile you're like helping each other. And if somebody like fell down in front of you, you'd stop your race
exactly
to try and help that person out.
For sure. I felt that all around the mountain.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy having people around. It's a nice mix though, because all of a sudden you're by yourself on a trail and you just go, oh, this is beautiful. This is an awesome time, and you're weaving through things. And then all of a sudden you see somebody up ahead and you're trying to catch them, or there's somebody behind who's catching you, and you get a little bit more pep in your step and keep going. But it's nice to have. I don't know if I could do it just myself. If it was just you climbing yesterday, you would have given up and just walked down, because it's just not worth it. It's tough to motivate yourself in those times. But where there's so many other people around you going through the exact same probably thought processes and going through the same struggles and maybe doing some burpees, whatever it is, it makes it that much easier. It's that camaraderie gets you through to the end sometimes. I can't even imagine in an ultra doing it twice around but just knowing, well, there's other people that are going to finish this, and there's people ahead of me. I mean, Austin finishing it, and Austin Azar finishing in
just under 8 hours. Just under.
Yeah.
Well, just the fact that you met that girl and she was giving you some of her food and energy bites, and that's huge.
Huge. That saved my life.
That's
huge.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that, I would have been dragging for the end of that race. Like I would have run out of nutrition. I wouldn't have had enough to. Instead, I got the food from a stranger, and I end up finishing strong. Come running down the hill right at the very end.
It just goes to show the community and just how everybody's here for each other, as well as for themselves.
Terry, you have a landscaping company, correct?
No, it's renovations, contracting. Yeah, a little bit of everything.
So how are you able to do renovations, something super physical, and then train for Spartans? What gives you that drive and determination to do both things that are physically demanding?
It's kind of the only way I could describe it is kind of like I know you guys kind of look at the ultra as kind of like this big deal. Or Austin was asking me this morning, it's like, well, were you excited when you got to the finish line? And I was like, well, kind of. But it was more like I just made a decision that I was going to do it. So then when I got to the finish line, it was like, okay, I just did the thing that I decided I was going to do. So that's kind of how I try and approach everything. It's like, I don't question what my own limits are. It's like, I just make the decision that I'm going to do something, go for it, and then just it gets done. And meanwhile, there's a bunch of people with their jaws on the floor. Like,
I feel that's probably a huge part of your success too, is that you're not looking at it as this race. You're kind of just looking at it as like,
that's just something
I'm just
doing.
going to keep climbing. I'm going to keep doing it, and I'll get there when I get there.
Yeah, I'm not going to stop. That was what I was thinking the whole time too. It's like, what else am I going to do today? If I quit in the middle of this race, it's like I'm just going to go sit down at the bottom of the hill and drink some beers or something and waste some time. Like, I might as well keep climbing. I'm here. I came all the way out to Kimberley.
Yeah, I'm glad I got that mindset in my head too on those inclines, because I think I just buried my head and was just like, you know what, I'll get there when I get there.
Just get into the task.
I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to keep looking ahead.
Yeah, don't bother looking at the top. The top will come to you.
Exactly.
I definitely had a couple of moments like that where I talked to myself is you'll get there when you get there. Just keep climbing.
I don't think I looked up once, honestly.
It's a good way. That's a good idea.
No, I'll get there whenever I get there.
Well, that's what a lot of people do like in life too, is like they're so busy focused on the end of the trail that they're not paying attention to what's happening right in front of them.
Exactly.
And sometimes you just got to bury your head down and get into the work that you're doing. And that's what's going to actually move you forward.
And when you get to the top, the view.
It's fantastic.
Just like in life, you know, you struggle, you put your head down.
There's definitely a metaphor for life in there. As funny as it sounds, where it's you could spend your life focusing on the top of the mountain and never get there because you get so discouraged on the way up that you can't make it through. But if you're focused on the now, which is maybe the 3 feet in front of you, for most of it, you have to have your sights. You have to know where you're going to get to. But sometimes it's best to look at where you're going. And if you look back too long, then you spend too much time focus on the past and focus on the things that have already happened. So you might as well just keep going, keep trekking and make it through. And it's funny how Spartan actually does teach you about life. In training, it's the same thing. If you're focused on your workouts and doing 2 workouts or 10 workouts a week, whatever it is, like 2 workouts in a day or 10 workouts in a week, you'd probably think it's overwhelming. But when you break it down to, no, I'm going to go for a run this morning, and then, oh, it's lunchtime, it's time to work out again. You know, when you just break it down day by day, and all of a sudden it becomes habit, and your body gets climatized, you get used to it. It just gets that much easier. And it's funny because often to the outside eye, people, I think everything is perception. Other people's perception of what you're doing might be crazy. I mean, the fact that you ran an ultra to some people is like, that's absolute. You ran a full marathon on a mountainside or more than a full marathon. Yeah. And that's more than people run often in a year or, ever in some cases. So in that sense, but the biggest thing, I think the physical aspect is an aspect that's often overlooked, especially in, North American society. The rates of obesity and inactivity are all-time high. And so it's crazy to think that we're not the norm. Mm-hmm. We're athletes, and which it's funny to put the quotation marks, but
tip of the spear, Spartan reference.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. Yeah. Tip of the spear.
Well, this race for me was huge because aside from just wanting to do it and compete with Terry and seeing what he was doing, the way my hockey career went and stuff, I always was like looking at the past kind of thing, wondering what I could have changed and yada yada yada. And then I go out on the mountain, I'm kind of thinking like, I can't look back. Who cares who's behind me? Can't look forward. Like, who cares where the top is? I got to just, bury my head, focus on myself, and just keep getting at it. Yeah.
Live life while it's happening.
Yep.
Everybody.
Exactly. It taught me kind of, I got to just be in the moment. I can't worry about what's behind me, what's ahead.
One nuance I'd add to that too is like a lot of the times you're climbing those ridges and all you can see is just this edge. Mm-hmm. And then most of the time during this race in particular, you get to that edge, there's another edge way up. Yeah. So it's like you think you're getting to the top and then there's another right up there. And then you get up to that one and then it happens again. And it's just like that for like when you're going through your own life too. Like if you're focused on whatever that point is, and then you get up there and then it's like, oh fuck, now we got this other one that we got to get to.
If there's one thing I'll take out of this race, it's definitely that.
Yeah.
And if you rush it too, and you think if you didn't even go through that experience to get to the top, think of if you flew up there or just took the chairlift, and that's not a diss on, I'm not dissing volunteers because the volunteers were super helpful, super positive, accommodating.
They were really great.
The event wouldn't have happened without volunteers. Yeah. And the fact that we were short volunteers on the last day just goes to show that they started almost 2 hours late.
On that
just because they were scrambling. Shout out to the volunteers. It's all about people that were giving their time and efforts to support this because it was amazing.
And just the cheering you on as you go past and super friendly. And they're out in the sun but the people at the water stations especially were keeping me going.
I came across one girl working out One of the volunteers is working out doing planks. She was like, "Yeah, I'm doing planks in between each runner I see." I was like, "Right on."
There you go.
It's my jam right there.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm getting my fitness in while I can too.
Why not? Like, you're sitting on top of a hill, great view.
Yeah.
But it is cool that I see it a little bit in my own life and people I work with where they see me, they see my gym bag, they see me going to the gym every day. They know that I'm there. And I've seen small changes with some, but some will come to me and ask advice on their running. And I go, I'm really not a runner, but this is what I do.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. And it's a cool thing though, to just know that people can take inspiration, even if it's in a small way, if it's reaching for the banana instead of the can of Coke or whatever it is, making that small change. And I've said it before on the podcast tons of times, but people are creatures of momentum, I would say. And so, when you reach for the can of Coke, then you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. And then all
Creatures
of a sudden,
of habit.
It's a habit too. I just think negative momentum brings you down. So if you're eating unhealthy at times,
That's a good way to
you're
think
just, and so it's habit too, because over time, it's just your brain says, yeah, I'm going to have pizza. I'm going to have that burger. I'm going to have that. And so as soon as you can start making those little changes and say, I'm taking my health more seriously, then you can start to get back to a point where you're living that healthy lifestyle. And even honestly, Spartan's done that in my life. I would say that during my time working for a professional sports organization, I ended up in the worst shape of my life and just didn't have something I was training for. I didn't have the time because I was stressed out, and I got in that negative momentum in just my physical training and everything. I just got out of it. And so it's nice to have something that motivates me and makes me feel in charge of my own life in that realm once again, which is really cool. Like, when you think you've hit your prime, and for me, it was playing football, and I thought I was at a point where I was in the best shape of my life, and all of a sudden now I go, holistically, I'm by far a better all-around athlete and in shape because I'm more flexible than I've ever been. I can run longer. I have better endurance. I'm a little bit less weight strong, but I'm pound for pound
Healthier.
stronger than I'm healthier.
Just generally healthier.
And even my mentality is better too. I don't know. I know you played at a high level too, so it's that mentality. Sometimes it sucks the fun out of it, and I think that Spartan's the right balance of testing your abilities and training hard, but then the fun aspect too.
Yeah, well, I've gone through obviously lows in hockey. Everybody does, and I've gone through the end of my career as well, where you're training, and you kind of are thinking, well, what am I training for? And it definitely can put a weight, like dragging a weight on your foot when you're going to the gym, and you're going there and you're thinking, what am I really going here for? And Spartan racing has definitely totally changed my outlook on going to the gym recently and everything like that. And just like you, I've been super healthy lately. I've felt awesome. I felt awesome today, and it showed.
Positive influences.
Positive
influences, definitely a thing too.
Terry's brought you into it a little bit too. So how did that go down where you got laced into coming to a Spartan race and drove all the way out here from Winnipeg?
Terry definitely, I started working with Terry, and he definitely was obviously a positive influence on me big time. He's a big role model for me. But he wanted me to do it. I was pretty motivated by seeing what he was doing. Watching him work out in the gym and seeing what he's all about is pretty impressive. So I got pretty excited about it.
Well, I could see Austin's potential at the gym. Like, we both work out at Elite Performance.
Shout out Elite.
Shout out to Elite.
Shout out Elite
obviously.
Performance.
And I kind of scouted him. And so I needed help. I had a bunch of work coming up, and I knew I could see the potential that he had, as an athlete. And I was like, I could take that and shape it into like a good employee. Seems like a good guy. So I sent him some messages through Instagram, let him know I was looking for some help. At the time, he was working on a farm, but he was kind of getting out of it. And then he finally was like, yeah, I'm ready. So he's been working with me for the past little while. I've been trying to show him the ropes with carpentry, and he's a good student. He's a good apprentice. And not only with that, then we get into like the training, and he got to know me better and find out the things that I do. And the reason why, like, if you follow my Instagram, you look at all the stupid shit that I do. And it's like,
it's controlled stupid.
it's controlled.
Stupid.
That's the thing. We had a discussion earlier in a creek, doing backflips into a shallow creek. I was not impressed.
I made it. I did it.
Yeah, we got guys doing backflips.
I was a little disappointed in you, Terry. I'll be honest.
No.
I've watched you do some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Watch you do some
well, at least we
crazy
had a therapist with us, right? Athletic therapist.
Student.
Good
Yeah.
enough. Good enough.
It was a good day. I relocated somebody's shoulder on the
Yeah, you
race.
did. He was
Hey.
super grateful for it too.
Yeah, none of the medical staff knew what
That
was
was
going
awesome.
on, so that was good.
You have a pretty neat story about your shoulder being dislocated, don't you?
Yeah.
We'll tell that another time.
But yeah, I saw the potential in young Douglas here, and
Young
it's turned out to be
Young
It's-
Dougie. She can
yeah.
be out of Dougie.
it's turned out to be really good because like not only do I have fellow competitor in the Spartan racing, but I also have like an excellent employee who's like, he learns everything that I tell him. Like I tell him to do something, I teach him something, and it's retaining. He's paying attention, becoming a better and better person and employee at the same time, and now becoming a Spartan racer. And I think I gave him that taste today. That's going to keep him coming back for more.
That was. I can definitely say that I'll be doing a lot of these races in the future.
He's going to catch up to me.
It's funny. It seems that a lot of people
It's
get
addicting.
addicted to
It
Spartan
is super
racing.
addicting.
Just the thrill and
I didn't even race yet, and I was addicted.
that happened to me too because I enjoyed the training so much, and I went, if I'm this passionate about the training and doing it every day and going running, and all of a sudden that turned into marathons after my first one. But it was the journey was so enjoyable. I was addicted to Spartan racing before my first one. I went and I started following some Spartans on Instagram and some of the top guys, and then meeting Mick was one of the big ones, and go to the OCR gym and just meeting people from the community in Winnipeg and just seeing how positive and genuine and great the energy was, and getting to test my skills on some of the obstacles and just playing around. I think the sense of play in it too, where you get to play on rings and run on rocks.
That's great.
And
I love it. That's,
And
that's
that's
my jam.
That's literally one of the key words everybody forgets about is play. It's so important to just have a good time.
Yeah, that's.
Like all
It's-
stress and competitiveness aside. Like
I
we're
mean,
all
I
high-level
have a bit
athletes.
of a competitive side, obviously, because I'm an athlete. But
Well, we all do.
I mean,
though.
I get out there and it's super fun. It was good.
play is the best part.
Yeah, and I think the older people get is the more often. Ashleigh, do you have a note?
Yeah, I have a question. What would you suggest for someone who's thinking about getting into it? 'Cause just, like,
Come
sitting
talk
here
to
with
me.
All of you guys, it's kind of interesting and it gets me intrigued.
She was pulling on the Herc hoist earlier. She did the man's weight too.
Did the Herc hoist with men's weight?
I
Yeah.
did the ladies and then the men's.
Double up.
I think you
Wow.
would just need to register.
Yeah.
Register.
Well,
start
If you
training.
want a little crash course, let any of us know. We could walk
Yeah.
you through it. But you're
register,
already
definitely
there.
start training.
The biggest step is taking the first step.
Start with a
Right,
start
that's
with
the
a
hardest
sprint or
thing.
something.
I don't do a lot of running. I've been doing hills with not really Anthony, but with D. So I do like, the lunges and whatever up the hill on the garbage hill on Empress in Winnipeg.
Yep.
That's the closest thing to a mountain in Winnipeg.
Garbage hill.
Garbage hill. So yeah, I don't know. And I was kind of thinking about it'd be interesting to try it.
I think it's always nice to have a challenge. So as soon as the big thing for me was making the decision early to say, you circle that date and you go, okay, I got to be ready to do this distance at this time. And for me, going to Red Deer, it was, this is a trip and I'm going to go out of my way to spend money to get there and spend money on the race and the weekend. So if I'm investing in this, I have to take it seriously and prepare correctly. And I knew running was going to be a large part of it, and being able to do at least 8 miles. And then the obstacles, so having the overall strength. So it's literally getting out there, learning a little bit of the running side, and learning how you can enjoy running too. I used to say I hated running, and then now
Same here. I'm the exact same way. I used to. I didn't hate it, but I used to kind of dread the going running for hockey and the conditioning, and I never really did much of it. But I can say lately, after running and getting more used to it, getting more into it, getting better at it. It's very addicting.
I always used to say I could run any distance with a ball in my hand. So if you made it a sport, or if it was in football, and I would train and run sprints, and I would push tread sleds, and I would do prowlers and whatever. So I'd do those short bursts. But if you put me on a long distance run, I could probably run 10, 15 minutes, and 20 minutes, and I'd be gassed, and I'd probably never want to do it again.
That's me.
Yeah.
I can't motivate myself worth anything to do cardio, but I can lift weights any day of the week. Cardio? Nope. Not my thing.
That's funny. I felt very
I've
much
been
the
that
same
way.
way.
I've been that way before.
So,
But now I'm like,
yeah, progression is the easiest thing.
Yeah.
You always start little and you build on it.
yeah.
And then finding a buddy is also a nice way to do it. So then it's kind of a distraction in
Yeah.
a sense, but it's also like
Having
self-motivating with a friend.
Having a buddy is huge because, like Terry, I started running with him, and that pushed me way harder than I would go alone, for sure. I mean, 3 hours is the longest I've ever ran today, but he definitely helped me push my limits.
We got a new gentleman tagging into the conversation.
What's up, y'all?
What's up, Tony?
What's up, y'all?
The big thing, I would talk 6 inches away and into the front of the microphone.
Got
We've
it.
been 6 inches.
Definitely
You should
6
be able to
inches.
Just like
measure
this.
that pretty well. I
Yeah,
think.
pretty well, right? Yeah, hold up.
It's just once if you're in the top too much, it doesn't pick it up as well.
Perfect.
So. What was your best race moment, Tony?
Besides finishing it and like headbutting a woman on the way in, I was a little excited. Oh, geez. Well, I was expecting, like, she held it out to the side, so I was like, let's go right into that medal. Nope, she like pulled it away at the last minute and totally headbutted her. It was perfect. Just kidding.
Why would she
Yeah.
pull it away? She pulled it away from you too, Terry.
I don't
But I guess you
understand
were
it.
taking it. You were getting a
Toro,
different
it's the running
medal.
of the bulls.
Yeah.
I did that in Red Deer, and I didn't headbutt her, but she had to pull herself out of the way and kept the medal in the same place, so I actually got it in the end. But I was coming in hot. I was in a dead sprint after to get to the finish line.
Ever
so.
since Red Deer, you wanted to know how I ran down that the last obstacle so fast and just bolted into the finish. So had to show it up.
I have to say that was one of the most inspired runs. After you nailed that spear, you ran over the top, and you just had this look of determination in your eyes. It was amazing.
Finally got my photos. My face there's just such a
Pure
Pure
passion,
pure passion to
and
finish that
adrenaline
race.
and fury in
Yeah.
those
It
eyes.
wasn't gas.
No, it wasn't gas. No,
Yeah.
no.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Just
There
So
would have
at-
been like a little fireball out of the fire,
Just joking.
the fire jump if
you
it was
came
gas.
in hot, man.
I
You
came in real
that
hot.
lady was not expecting that.
that last obstacle right before the fire, you're like
Just giving her.
so determined to
No,
just
you
jump
jumped
over
over
that.
it too.
Well, I was keeping a good pace throughout the whole thing, and then, well, I guess it was up the third, fourth ascent. I just cramped up, and
Mm-hmm.
I was determined. Like there was good 20 minutes of 30 minutes sat on the side of the mountain just cramping, and I was like, yeah, just like Terry said, it's like, what the hell am I else going to do today? I'm going to call the paramedics and sit at the bottom of the mountain,
For the
just
listener.
chilling.
Finish it.
And no, I said, yeah, screw it. I'm going to walk my way up, grabbed a stick, and finish the race. And I was passing people that were like, do you want a gel? And that's like, I saw people cramping on the way down. I was like, I still have gels in my pack. I was like, I'm good after this. You want a gel? You want a gel? Favorite part, I asked one of the guys, I think it was right after the Atlas. Atlas A-frame there with up in the top of the chairlift there. And he was sitting there and he was eating a sandwich. And I was like, I finished it, crushed the course, and he's sitting there and he's like, Mike just kind of gingerly walked by him and he's like, can I get a bite of that? He's like, sure. And I'm like, no, man, you have it. I'm good. And I just kept going. That was probably one of my favorite moments in the race, and just helping people throughout the race, because there was a group of us that were just going off all our energies, and we legit finished the race together. So it was quite an adventure, especially for my first beast. So
Yeah. It was
Mountain beast.
Mountain Beast.
yeah.
This was
So-
a hell of a mountain.
Yeah.
Real test. Anthony, how do you say your last name?
Halyckyj,
Halyckyj?
yes.
Okay. And so you're also the founder I should probably know this by now.
Siri says it's really weird too, so it's
I'm with Siri because if you ended up on a podium, I'd butcher your name.
It's okay. I'm gonna change it to Smith. Something simple.
Anthony Smith.
Anthony Smith. It has a good ring to it, though. It
goes
works.
a little bit.
Give a
Just
lot of thought
saying.
to it.
If you're starting a singing career or something, you might want to consider the change.
Yes,
But you know,
I think you're
so I wanted
How
to
does
get
you
in
team
a little bit to your story though, too, Tony, because you're the founder CEO of 204 Meal Prep,
yes, sir.
and I wanted to know your inspiration for starting that and exactly what the company is.
Inspiration to starting it. I finished school, saw a need for healthy food in Winnipeg. My buddy and I were literally sitting down at Joey's. I was working at Joey's at the time, and we're sitting there and we're like, "Hey, do you want to do food trucks?" Because this food truck phase just came through Winnipeg, and everyone was doing food trucks. There was food truck wars, and a couple years back, and we're sitting there and we're just like, we could do this. And we're thinking burgers. And we're gonna call it Bitches and Burgers. Don't ask about the name. It's pretty good. And hey, it was gonna be two blondes, and that's why it was I was kind of just shout out to Ryan Baker for that. Yeah.
I remember the conversation happening at my dinner table the first time.
That too. Yeah, I was at
With my mother.
yeah.
Shout out to her for the idea.
Thanks, Mom.
Burgers and bitches.
So burgers and bitches didn't pan out.
Burgers and bitches didn't pan out, and one of my buddies was competing for a competition, one of those MABA competitions there in Winnipeg, and every Sunday, I would just chill at his house and down on Portage there, and he was just go to Costco. And he's like, "Do you want a meal prep for me for the rest of the competition date?" I'm like, "Sweet." Like, there's $50-$100. Kind of that's how it got started. And I would go over to his house and make meal prep. And then my buddy and I decided to start 204 Meal Prep. And just because of the name of the area code, and we were trying to figure out different meal prep names and everything else. And that's kind of how it worked out, and got him through his competition. He won first. Shout out to Dylan. And then we just didn't do anything about it for a couple of years. And I went to school and finished that. And then right after, remember the day really vividly, I was in my biomechanics class, and I get a call from one of the bombers, and gives me a call, and I'm thinking, hey, can't be a real number. It's from Florida. Like, it's probably a telemarketer. I'll just leave it to the voicemail. And it was Justin Medlock. Pretty cool.
Cool.
And yeah, him and I sat down and got him started on his meal prep, as long as a bunch of other bombers on the team. And that's kind of how it started out. It was kind of one of those fluke things. Rewind how Justin got my contact. It was just random Twitter shout out from our site, and one of the Alouettes came into town from for the CFL Grey Cup, and he contacted me. I did all of his meal prep for that time. He threw my contact over to Justin, and then kind of started from there. And I was like, there is nothing like this in Winnipeg, and there is a need for this in Winnipeg. And that's kind of like where my passion is. There's no need. There's healthy alternatives to fast food. There's Freshie now, which is big into the game. But even Subway, McDonald's is going to healthy. Like, everything's going to healthy food, I find, and everyone's cutting out the crap, I want to say, out of their diet, and they understand that, to live better and to be healthier and live longer, you need to eat healthy. And it's kind of where I started. And meal prep is such an essential component to health and fitness. It doesn't matter what you are in, if you're in your fitness career, if you're riding Spartan races, or if you're doing competitions, or if you're just trying to live a healthy lifestyle, you need to have some sort of meal prep or meal plan to follow to get results.
Mhm.
And that's why we're here. And that's kind of my inspiration. I found that there was a lot of unhealthy people, unhealthy individuals. I got our buddy Ryan meal prepping with us for a bit. Now he's at OTF, like he's hooked to it. And there's oops, like, but yeah, he was a bigger guy. He was stockier and played hockey all his life, played golf, but never had a passion to run or go to the gym. He tried it out for a bit, but it was just
make sure you're talking into the front of the mic too, so it like the blue. Yeah, there you go.
Thanks.
And 6 inches. That's
got it. That's the rule. That's the goal.
It's golden number. No, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
Continue.
I think that the whole idea is actually great because I mean I've had moments in my life playing hockey and going to university where you're obviously bag tired and you're doing all your schoolwork and you're playing hockey, and something like a meal prep plan where you're not the one who's having to prepare the food every night. That's huge for lots of people, even people who are, business people or people that work a lot.
Yeah.
It's huge. Or people with families, dad or mom who can't have the time to make their own food and whatever.
And that's why we're here. It's just it's one of the convenience is to everyone out there. Like we've teamed up with Cranked Energy Bars in Winnipeg there, and Cheryl's been a huge inspiration to my success and to the people that she kind of started off the same way that I did, and now we're growing exponentially as my company is, and I'm trying to make some moves to hit the whole Winnipeg and make sure that we're well known and that people have that healthy choice, because instead of going to McDonald's you got to find the value in it and why you need it. You don't need to sell it. You need to figure out why you need the food, why you need it. Like the people understand why they're doing something. You don't have to sell them on anything.
Well, I've always actually, it's pretty been neat to meet you this weekend and learn that you've run this business, because I've always actually been extremely interested in these meal prep businesses because I, as said earlier, I used to work on a farm.
Right.
And it's the hours you're working on a farm, you're not always getting that hour lunch. You're not always getting to go home for dinner. And something like that would be huge for me at that time, obviously being a person who's still focused on working out and whatnot.
Yeah.
And like the amount of times I ended up having to just, pull the short straw and go to McDonald's or whatever, and having something like that would have been pretty awesome.
I'd like to add that to that too, because for me, being self-employed, like it's not 9 to 5. Like when I wake up, I'm working, I'm training, I'm working and I'm training, and then I'm sleeping, and then it starts all over again the next day.
Yeah.
So it's like I try and keep my meal prep personally down to like 30 minutes or less.
Yeah.
I eat the same thing every day, but I have tried your meals and they are actually really, really fucking good.
That's good.
Yeah. And I mean, it was healthy too. So like for me, I would have to double up the portions, but that's just for a person who has a lifestyle like mine.
Yeah.
But that time savings for someone like me is such a huge thing. Like the time that I spend going to the store and shopping and then cooking and getting it all ready and packaging it all up and having it ready in the morning. Like that's a time that I could use to be focusing on other things like rest. Yeah, that's
business
funny.
stuff. Quotes.
Yeah.
There's tons of thank you Terry. That's what I hear from a lot of my clientele too, is that there are very busy individuals that try to live a healthy lifestyle, hockey moms, hockey dads, business professionals, that want to promote and just trying to get into the gym or just trying to live that healthy lifestyle, and then they're just finding, I'm running.
They're so worried about feeding their own kids.
Their own kids that they forget
feed themselves.
Exactly.
And that I've seen that with my parents a lot.
Yeah.
And so something like that would be great, I'm sure, for lots of people.
And it's quite inexpensive too. It's if you look at you go to how much you pay at Subway or McDonald's when you go after
Oh,
hockey.
I mean,
Once you
There's
get a meal,
almost a
it's
disturbing
12,
amount.
12, 15 bucks.
you
Which,
pay nearly 20. Like for me, for somebody who's working on a farm, say I'm working the day and I finally get like that quick chance to go get food.
Right.
And I've been already working for like 6 hours without a meal.
Mhm.
I'm going to Subway and I'm spending over $20.
Yeah. And that is like probably 2 to 3 meals on our on at 204.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fresh, and we try to keep as local as we can.
Mm-hmm.
And all you need to do is heat.
All you need to do is carry it around.
Yeah.
well,
And
it's,
it's
It's
crazy.
awesome.
It's crazy on how it's just the mentality. People, they're like, oh, it's gonna be expensive. You got to find the value into why you're gonna do it, and then
Mhm.
it just saves so much time. Again, like you don't have 3 to 4 hours to make a good healthy meal every single day, or if you do it for a week, do you have 4 hours in a week to do it? Or on a Sunday, run to Costco, run back from Costco, cook it when you're trying to like balance your kids, your work, everything else. Do you want that time to spend with your family, or would you rather spend cooking in the kitchen?
I'll mention that my meal prep too is like bare bones. No marinating, no spices, just straight out of the packages, like boring. And like your food is all seasoned and prepared well.
Mhm.
And it's like something you'd get at a restaurant. And that's actually a nice difference too.
Yeah.
So when I got to try it the other day, I was like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
Because most of my food is bland, to be honest. Like for me, it's just like, it's fuel.
Mhm.
But it gets the job done.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, when I get to have a proper meal like that, or a properly prepped meal that's like seasoned and
Portioned.
it tastes good.
It's huge.
It's like, oh look, this is a treat. I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah.
I'm not just fueling the monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, I know.
I'm definitely going to have to try it out.
Yeah. Definitely hit me up when you get back to Winnipeg.
Because obviously I work with Terry, so
Yeah.
I mean,
There's,
I'm working lots too.
I'm trying to make some moves with a lot of people in the city, and especially getting onto a podcast like this and telling you what kind of like the background of it.
Yeah.
And spreading my message, because it's one of the underutilized services. And you go to like Skip the Dishes is huge now, and Ashleigh was telling me the other night that she probably spent what $50 in 2 nights.
So how exactly does it work?
Oh.
Do you guys bring in like when do you ship the food out kind of thing?
So we do
Like,
it
how does
every
work?
we cook it fresh every Wednesday and Sundays,
Okay.
and we deliver it weekly. We have monthly subscriptions, weekly subscriptions, daily meals, tons of choices, all cooked fresh, all fresh ingredients, and everything's done in a certified kitchen, because a lot of meal prep companies here in Winnipeg don't follow that, and it's one of those fine lines with especially meals and home cooked food that a lot of companies kind of start out somewhere, and they need to start out somewhere. But I made sure
Mhm.
I had to make sure I did my research, because I was working with major sports teams and major athletes at the time. But I can what I was going on there with Ashleigh there with Skip the Dishes there,
Right.
and how much people spend on Skip the Dishes, and what you were telling me.
In 2 nights, I spent probably $50 on Skip the Dishes. Granted, it did give me dinner and lunch for the next day, but then it's also not the healthy food that you want to be eating if you're trying to live a healthy and fit lifestyle. And so when Anthony or Tony was saying that like it's good for, so you can spend time with your family and stuff like that. It's also good if you're a young professional trying to get forward in your career and to better yourself and your life. You can't just spend 5 hours in the kitchen cooking. Just
Mhm.
Have someone else do it for you.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I would completely agree with that.
Convenience.
I wish I had a testimonial where I could say how delicious the food is. I really have to try it, and
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I've tried it. It's very delicious.
There we go. Very delicious.
got another testimonial.
But no, honestly, I think it's one of the most. It's a great idea. The fact that nobody's done it and nobody's taken advantage of that gap in the marketplace. But basically, it's been outlined all the people it can help, and basically, in our busy, crazy world that we live in, where you're working hours and sometimes you take your work home with you, and if you have a family, if you have a bunch of things or passions or things that you're training for, it is a great way to fill that void if you don't have the time to cook that healthy meal.
Yeah.
On the other side, I've become really passionate about nutrition, and just in terms of keeping things interesting with myself. And I actually decided to switch to a paleo oriented diet because I found I wanted to try something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And I with carbs and just knowing breads and knowing that if you get way too much of it, that it's unhealthy for you. And I know that I'm a carb fiend. I love baked goods and I love cinnamon buns and everything, and beer. Yeah, I allow myself. So I say my diet is paleo and pizza because there's always that one night a week.
Double P, man.
Yeah, double P. That I got to bring the Delicio out of the freezer and I got to throw it in the oven because I don't want to cook that night. And so maybe if what I should do is switch that one night up and do a meal prep, because then I wouldn't have to eat unhealthy that one night a week. But I also do love pizza, so I don't know if I want to give that up completely. But
and there's definitely healthy alternatives to pizza.
Yeah.
Well,
there's healthy
there's
pizza
not
out there.
there's not taste.
Hey, tried cauliflower pizza before?
I need to try cauliflower pizza. Somebody tried it and recommended it, and I just got to get around to it. I actually had my first cauliflower stir fry, and that was delicious.
Yeah.
It was
Cauliflower rice. It's actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah, just and literally take the grater and grate up a head of cauliflower, and then you're good.
There's you can buy prepackaged at a lot of stores. I've cadavered with it. It's one of those things you need to really work. You fine tune it. It's like anything. I'm not a professional chef by any means, but I've worked with a lot of healthy alternatives. That's kind of where I started, was making protein pancakes. And if you guys ever check out the Instagram, shout out at Whiskey Tony. There is
self shoutouts.
There's a ton of protein pancakes there that we're
I used to go ham on the protein pancakes too. I'd throw oatmeal, eggs, some protein scoops, and God knows what else, some almonds, a little bit of that brown sugar and or what's the golden sugar, so there's no calories in it.
Yeah.
But basically anything.
And with paleo, like that's a great thing. Like there's so many diets out there, diet fads, and it's crazy on how much requests I get from clients. Do you do paleo? Do you do keto? Do you do low carb? Do you do high carb? Do you do just veg? Are you vegetarian? Are you vegan? Gluten free.
I know a lot of people that want to do a lot of time. So a lot of people
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's we do it all. Like I've done my research on a lot of those diets across the board. And I'm not saying that I'm a professional at any means. I know what to do, and I'm pretty good at it. And it's hard to. I work with also a dietitian as well. I have a couple dietitians that I if there are any dietitianary needs that they need, I throw it off to them. They relay it back to me, and I work with both of them at the same time. So I make sure that everything is great for the client, and I want to make sure that their experiences are well received when coming to us. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. And so with paleo, I actually found an awesome app, and it was a coworker, shout out to Alanda, that recommended it to me. And so Meal Lime is the app, and
Right.
it's
You were
what I
telling me
use.
about that.
It's what I use for. So it's what I like it for is it does a similar thing, but obviously a different market, because this is people that have the time to cook for themselves, to go shopping, but what I like about it is I could choose my diet and I can choose my meals for the week.
Right.
And then it builds your grocery list. You can go out and buy the groceries, and it's also really flavorful, so they'll have a bunch of spices, and it allows me to try a bunch of new things, which is a great way to just improve not only my cooking, but the fact that I can eat a diet that I want to, and the cooking's delicious and I enjoy it, and it's just this great system. And but taking nutrition seriously is such a big thing, and it's something, if it's anything we can do to not opt for that burger or that unhealthy choice, it's why not let people know. The more people that know about things like meal prep companies, and especially a local meal prep company in Winnipeg, is super helpful. I know so many people, even in my own office, that could benefit from having a meal prep company, even if it's one night a week where they don't have to cook for themselves or their family, or they can bring it to work, so they're not either not eating at lunch or not going to the kitchen downstairs and grabbing a bunch of high carb pasta, whatever it is, at the buffet. Then it's a great thing. And it's great that we now have these options that people can eat healthy, and there are a lot of people taking it seriously now, and really want to make that change. And it's great. It's just great that we're actually getting to a point where things are changing, and for the better. It's not McDonald's on every billboard, and now we know the unhealthy parts of it. I mean, I remember Super Size Me.
Yeah.
That was one of the documentary. Think of, oh man, just the torture that does to your body. And yeah. Well, he went in and did his blood work, and it showed how it wasn't his liver as unhealthy as if he was an alcoholic, and they had never seen certain levels.
It was bad.
Fatty infiltration on organs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just like to pull us to the side for a second and point out how we're all having a few beers.
Yeah.
And Tristan got his Gatorade and his granola bars over here, kind of putting us all to shame while we're having this conversation about healthy living.
I'm also not
'Cause-
human.
Yeah.
We did
So
bring
I
out the
don't
water.
count.
Yeah, we got a little water. But
A little
this is one thing that a lot of people kind of let fall to the side, like how detrimental alcohol is to our systems. And it's just like a socially acceptable poison that we all kind of fill ourselves with. And it's also a depressant.
You know what? I find it all
Temporarily.
balanced, like especially what we've put our bodies through this weekend. We deserve a couple brewskis.
Well, we're treating ourselves for sure.
Yeah.
But this isn't something that we do every day, right?
Yeah, it's but that's like we got to look at that with a grain of salt. Like we don't drink alcohol every single day. We run races and we live a healthy life. It's all balance at the end of the day. It's an 80-20 rule. That was kind of that was my number at on the 80-20, man. It's
Yeah, that's funny.
yeah, it was great.
Numerology, finding meaning in numbers.
Exactly.
But think of it. Eat healthy 80% of the time. Yeah, and maybe it's that one meal on weekend. Maybe it's your pizza. Maybe it's maybe that one night a week you enjoy that. And so I think we're in this world where there's so many amazing things. Yes, enjoy life.
Mm-hmm.
But when it becomes every day that's your habit, that's not a good thing.
You need to have a good
No, every second day. But I think that's part of the training too. Even on weekends, I want to go out and go for a run more than I want to go out and have a beer and party all night, because I know that one leads to me being fulfilled and happy and
In the long term.
In the long term. Yeah, the other one doesn't lead to anything I want.
And bad decisions.
yeah, bad decisions.
Bad decisions.
Yeah, I definitely find that on the weekends when I get to go to the gym, I enjoy my weekends a lot more, and the week following is a lot more fulfilling, and it just makes me have a more positive outlook on everything.
I mean, there's so many benefits to working out, eating healthy. I wish more people did it. I wish more people saw it. I think people know, but it's easy to fall off the tracks. You're heading forward, and sometimes, and there are times where other things take precedence in life, where something happens and you have to focus on, maybe it's family, maybe it's Maybe it's career because you got to push through a certain point. But there are other times where it's, are you making excuses? Could you be doing better? And so, yes, there are those terrible times that happen, but getting back on track is equally as important because you, in the long term, you have to be worried about your health, your happiness, your ability to feel fulfilled. And actually, that's what I would say is one of my personal goals, is just reaching that sense of fulfillment more so. I quit measuring happiness and just say fulfilled. And what are the things that are going to make me feel more fulfilled? I have a vision board of things that part of it, it's not wants necessarily, but it's what are the things that would make me happy and or make me feel fulfilled. And one of them's, I've mentioned it before, but there's a quote that's just, be the best version of myself every single day. There's hands clasped in a hand up kind of way, not a handout. It's not giving people things for free. It's literally, I want to help people who, and there has to be that willingness to be helped on the other side. There's people that will take advantage of that.
I was just going to add that if humans are creatures of habits, then just make a habit of being positive and living a healthy lifestyle instead of choosing to just take the easy route and drink beer and, eat craft dinner because it's easy to cook.
And that's completely fair. And one of the other ones, it's actually a microphone and a stage. So starting this podcast was actually one of those things that would make me feel more fulfilled because I get to have conversations on this level with people, and regular conversations don't always, there's sometimes where it happens where you hit that level of connection and there's people in the room and you really get to know the soul of the other person and what they value and what they're really into.
I can easily say this night was way better spent doing this than sitting by the pool and drinking beers all night.
That's awesome, and I'm glad that that's your feeling.
No,
Street chess.
Street
streets of Kimberley.
The hardcores in
You were
Kimberley.
not allowed to down.
No, Street chess was.
We had a
amazing.
good time.
That was a battle too. I'm going to be honest. I'm pretty confident in my chess skills, but that brought a whole new level into it. Blaring sun for about an hour and a half. Started that delirium sets in.
It was a good teaching moment.
It was affecting the game for sure.
Yeah.
I was seeing some moves on both sides that was like, what's going on here?
It was a teaching moment.
Yeah.
A teaching moment.
The entire weekend for me was pretty competitive, so it's nice to relax and again going back to having fun and play.
A leisurely game.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Relax the mind a little bit.
It's fun to have fun and to just.
Well,
it is fun to have fun.
Yeah.
With the Spartan race, Austin had got a shirt or something from the merchandise tent, and the tag on it said, how did it go? It was
run the first half with your legs, run the second half with your mind.
Yeah, that's right. And that echoes through like any one of the Spartan races, because at some point you're going to hit a point where you're just not willing to continue, and then you got to try and shift your mindset so you can just keep going, because it's like, no, the pain is temporary. I can get through this. It's like,
they call that the pain cave.
yeah, exactly. And a lot of people might give into that. And I think that goes back to like
It's something you have to learn.
Well, it's like what you're saying about people getting into like healthy living and stuff. It seems like a lot of people aren't in there yet. Like there's definitely a lot more now than there used to be. A lot of people think it's cost, but I mean, there's stuff you can do even at home. You don't have to go to a gym.
I think a huge part of being healthy and just fitness in general is exactly that quote is kind of like the first half of it is going to be you working your body, but the real earnings and what you're actually getting out of it is going to be you using your mind, your mentality, you pushing through, getting better, getting those extra reps at the end of everything you do, burning, letting those muscles burn instead of quitting before they burn. It applies with almost everything.
Well, I mean, you're talking to like a room full of athletes right now, so it's easy for us to understand it, but people who are like uninitiated I feel like there's the barrier for them, because there's like a 3 to 6 week period for people who've never exercised or worked out seriously, where like they're just experiencing discomfort on a level they've never felt, and it just seems like it's not beneficial at all. And like until you get past that, you're not going to get to those benefits. Like people would look at me running the ultra and be like, why would you do something like that? Like, doesn't it hurt, or doesn't it make you feel like shit? And the truth is like when you get to the top of the mountain, you don't feel like shit. Like I'm up there higher than somebody who would be on heroin or something like that because of the endorphins that are going.
That's an extreme, but yes.
Well, I mean, it's still an endorphin high.
Yes.
But I mean, like, if somebody wanted to compare it to something, like, that's what I'm feeling. So when someone's looking at me, like, I know for one thing, like, my dad doesn't understand anything that I do in the gym or anything that I do with the Spartan racing stuff. And, like, he totally devalues it just because he doesn't have an understanding of it. But yeah, like he was saying, you probably can't hear him, can he? No. Yeah, he was saying that like people wouldn't understand, like I feel high this whole time, and people who do drugs, they just get it right away, and it's like they just get their hit and then it goes away. For me, I get it naturally, but people would see me up on the top of this mountain, like, why is that idiot doing that? Like, and they don't understand the positive benefits that it gives me, like mentally and physically and all that stuff. And until they get past that kind of initial barrier, then I feel like they don't ever get to the point, because it's a hard hump to get over for someone who's new to going to the gym or going for runs.
Well, I can almost add to that, because this being my first Spartan race, first time I've ran, honestly, probably over an hour, and I ended up running close to 3 hours. It's, I mean, Terry has a pretty funny video of me after laying on the ground and saying, I've never felt this good in my life. Like, you know, I just ran 3 hours and you'd expect me to say, you know, this sucks. But, you know, honestly, it was the best feeling I've ever felt.
It's that feeling of accomplishment where you know you've done something difficult. You earned that medal that they put around your neck. And it's unfortunate that that medal actually does represent so much. I'm not wearing mine right now. I was when we walked in here. They're all on the table somewhere. Yeah, mine's under my butt. We could show off the medals. Terry's got his as a belt buckle too.
Terry's would take up the whole town.
Yeah, nobody would be able to see us anymore. But no, it's great when you get to the bottom. I mean, for me, there is that point where you're fighting up that last climb, and I go, can't wait to get a beer at the end of this. But that is one of the, I mean, whatever motivates you to get through, whatever that end goal is. I sometimes have long runs where I run to the park and back or whatever it is, and it's 10 miles, and I go, can't wait for chocolate milk when I get home. Something's waiting, or whatever the meal I prepped or whatever's there for me. And so it's sometimes you have to trick your own mind into going, and yeah, maybe it can get to an extreme. You don't want to keep eating chocolate or whatever it is when you get back and just ruin the benefits. But there are those sometimes where it's, what is this thing that's going to motivate me to get through to the other side, and what's going to keep me going? So it's great to just have those challenges and those things to overcome. And it's funny when you're in a Spartan race and it's literally physical obstacles that you have to overcome, and then you get to the other side and you've made it.
I do want to say that, like, obviously with the ultra, it's a huge accomplishment, but like for me, I've been training so hard and I do things at a certain level so consistently all the time that it's normal to me. But like Anthony ran his first beast and he was cramped, like, and I don't know if anyone knows what that feels like necessarily, but it's almost like a race stopping experience. And the fact that he came back from that and still finished the race anyway is something that's totally kind of underestimated. And I saw like a post that Mick, our friend, had made, because like people just expect him to win all the time, right? And it's like, oh, Mick just won again. It's like, oh, that's no big deal. He's always on the podium. But the thing is, like, you're kind of taking away value from like the experience of what you're doing. And yeah, I just wanted to say that like what you endure there, Anthony, to get through that cramp and then still finish the race anyway, is kind of one of those things where it's like, it's almost like a superhuman, unnatural thing. So I would say, because I didn't cramp at all for my entire ultra, and if I had, that could be a race ending thing for me. So like, kudos to you for pushing through that.
All right. We got Tony back.
Tony back here.
Tony's doing naughty things and he's pressing buttons he shouldn't. It's a shiny red button, and you'd think.
I think I passed it when I pushed it when I passed it to Tristan here. But to go off what Terry said there, to give up on the race course, there was people passing me. They're like, "Hey, do you want any help?" And I wanted to quit. And there was points in time that I was just like, I was cramping up so bad. I've never felt a pain in my life that enduring. And I heard this guy in the back of my head, and it's just like, keep going, keep pushing. And the people around me just like, do you want to gel? Are you going to be okay? They literally stopped their race to make sure I was okay. And
That's Spartan life.
That's Spartan life. And anything that you go through in your life, you kind of you get that game ending pain, or that what you were saying, you just want to stop and just quit, and you just push through. Like there's so much battles that people have gone through in life that you look back at it and you're just like, oh, at that moment in time you're just like, I can't do this. There's no chance in hell I can complete this task, or whatever, that I can't get through this breakup. I can't get over this test, or I just failed this test. I'm going to fail at life. Or you just didn't get that promotion you were looking for. You just got fired from a job. Like whatever that, like you just missed the game-winning shot and you think your life is over. And like you think this race is over because you're cramped up on the side of a hill, and you just get this you're like, I beat better things than this. I'm going to keep going. And that's kind of what got me through it, was just the pure motivation and drive of trying to complete this task. Because I was like, I'm already 3 hours into this race. I'm going to get down this hill. It's life. It's an upward battle, right? It's a journey, right?
Yeah, I'd say we've all been in those negative places. I mean, you live long enough, you're going to go through something difficult in life. And I think I've shared it before, but I have a very Taoist philosophy on life. But it's that, so the yin and yang symbol, when you think of it, there's the darkness and the light. But then even within the darkness, there's that little bit of light. And to me, that's hope. And that's making sure that you have your vision towards that. So if you're going through that bad breakup, if you're really struggling, whatever you're going through, if you have hope and you know you're going to make it through, you know you're going to be better for it, you know you can get back to a positive side, that's what's worth living for. And life comes in those ebbs and flows. You have to go through. I think some of our failures and going through those pits are the best building points because they get you to new heights and where you could be and help you realize your potential, which is such an amazing thing. I have another random note because you said you thought of Tristan when you're going through and running, and he's that voice inside the back of your head. Mine's something absolutely silly. Yeah. Because I don't have, I wouldn't say I have a Spartan mentor, but there's a podcast I listen to called Your Mom's House, and it's a comedy podcast. But one of the best videos that they ever show. So they show some YouTube videos, and they showed this lady, you never see her, but she's commenting on Huntington boat races, and a guy falls out. And she's cursing a lot, so I won't repeat the entire video. But at one point, in her grovelly, smoky voice is maybe how I would explain it. She says, "You're doing good." And that always comes into my head when I'm running races. And I know it's a mild hallucination or something because it's auditory, but it's a mild hallucination because I check in with myself and I'm like, how am I doing? And it's, "You're doing good." And I continue going. So between my mantra and that, yeah, you can maybe understand how my head works a little bit from that. But no, it's one of those funny things because then I laugh at it and then I keep going but it's those things, it's those little things that keep you going, whether it's thinking of positive influence or positive messages from people, or it's thinking of, maybe it's that song, maybe it's Fat Bottom Girls coming on in your mind while you're running. That was we got to tell them the story. I believe this is Austin's story to tell because we were cruising over there.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not usually the type to, I'm not usually a music pump up guy. I mean, lots of people love their music to pump them up. I'm more of a just me against me type of guy. I like to just stay quiet. But today I was just listening to what the boys were doing the day before. It seemed to work out for them. So I was like, you know what, whatever. We'll listen to some music. And then just before we got to the hill, I decided Queen, Fat Bottom Girls. And I'll be honest, I probably sang that song over and over in my head like 15 times
Sing that song.
on the hill. And that kept me going. I'll be honest. I'm so happy I listened to that song.
And sometimes it's Fat Bottom Girls that keeps you going.
Austin chasing the Fat Bottom Girls. I'm
Well,
proud
now
of
we
you.
know.
Proud of you, boy.
After rapping.
I'd like to
After
say
rapping, we did rap a little bit of Afro Man.
Afro Man, sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, like having a song or something like that. But even the help of like a random stranger, like Tristan, for instance, helping that guy with the dislocated shoulder, like he happens to have the experience and skills to deal with it, and was just there at the time where the guy's shoulder got dislocated, and that's like it's kind of a weird coincidence. But getting that help and accepting it from random strangers can sometimes be the thing that helps you get through those low pits we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked about it a little bit too, the sense of community, but one of my goals coming out of this weekend is to just encourage and help people get more active, but
And find
also
Fat
just get
Bottom
involved
Girls.
in a lot of these awesome activities that are possible in Winnipeg, but maybe that people don't know about as much and might be interested in, whether it's the obstacle course racing gym, whether it's hiking, whether it's kayaking. There's a ton of amazing things that we can do that people don't take advantage of. And we need to do more to encourage that community and just get people out and moving in whatever way. So if it's fun things, I mean, I take my training seriously on weekdays, and I find I always want to try and do something new, different, or fun on the weekend. So that's maybe a new goal of mine, is just to get people involved with it, whether it's any of those things, climbing. Yeah. Well, there's not a lot of mountains in Winnipeg, so
Well, you
I don't
did
know if
come-
mountain climbing.
You did
But-
come to the Ninja Yoga
But
class.
I have had people come up to me or reach out to me and say that they're interested in trying things out. So I'm definitely open to that. I'm putting this out to the world that I'm going to hopefully organize. I'm going to say this positively. I will organize some things that people can join up with and be active, whether it's a run around the park or throwing a football or frisbee around. We'll do some things and we'll get this city more active. Winnipeg. I mean, Kimberley, you can come to Winnipeg anytime and do it too, but
Yeah, I don't think they want to.
they're doing a pretty good job because they have mountains to go hike every day.
Yeah.
You did come to that Ninja Flow class with me. Shout out to Sam Squire.
I
and
did
her
want to
ninja-
talk
and her
about
flow.
that too.
Oh, really?
Yoga and
What's up?
ninja yoga. Man, that was an incredible experience because I've been doing yoga steadily for the past year and a half now, and it's made a lot of difference in terms of I enjoy both the stretching portion, so being more bondable, flexible, and then the meditation and breathing portions. That actually led me into running a little bit, I would say, because I got focused on my breathing, and then getting over the hump and running was literally learning how to breathe while I ran correctly. And then to follow that, so I did the body flow classes, which are offered at Good Life, but it's perfect because I can do a video or I can do a class with other people, and it's been a really welcoming community. But then I did a ninja yoga class, and I realized
level.
there's a whole next level to this yoga.
Oh yeah, the arm balances, the handstands. Another shout out to Sam Squire, of course, who's moving to BC soon, unfortunately for us Winnipeggers. But it's just a great way to challenge yourself as well as work on your flexibility, mobility, things like that. And it's such a great additive to like a heavy training program because your mobility and flexibility makes all of your lifts so much better, like form wise, and like you can just put more effort in the right direction just so you can get more work done, more weight on the bar and better form while you're doing it.
But you take the ninja thing seriously because you were out in all black yesterday and had a full ninja stick that you brought with you. I think most of the race.
Yeah,
too.
I found a walking stick and it was perfect, like just the size and shape, and it had like a handhold and everything. And the best part about that whole thing was I ran to this one part and there was a kid, and he's like, "Are you a Ninja Turtle?" And I was like, I had my purple armband on because I was running the ultra, so I put my armband up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm Donatello. And I was like, so cool. Like as a kid watching the Ninja Turtles, it's like, yeah, I'm one of the Ninja Turtles, of course. Look at me.
If I had to vote somebody most likely to be a Ninja Turtle,
Probably.
it's definitely Terry.
Yeah.
But
The
I was
bald,
amazed.
the bald head for sure.
I mean,
I
I'd
just need to
seen
go
you
green.
do, so before I'd done ninja yoga, I'd seen you do a handstand and I'd seen you do a couple of impressive things fitness wise. But then when I did that class with you, I went, you got some crazy upper body strength, flexibility. I mean, the fact that you could go from the seated portions to full legs in the air, to me, that's crazy because I can't hold a handstand for over 2 seconds.
It's
so
just practice.
it is practice. And that's actually another goal that I have. It's funny because you see people within the Spartan community, you go, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to be able to do that.
Mhm.
And so it's a little bit of that competition and one-upsmanship, but it's also just really, it's fun though. It's fun to just challenge yourself in new ways and to be inspired by other people around you is you might as well take it from somewhere.
Well, that's the thing is it almost becomes not one-upsmanship because the other people are more lifting you up than they are. Like I was saying, it's not even competitive. It's like if you're doing something cool or somebody else is doing something cool and then you try and like copy it, it's like, oh, that's awesome. Like they're trying to take what I've done and now they're inspired to do something better with their own lives. Just like in the pool the other day, I know it's kind of silly, but I did a handstand coming out of the pool and there was some little girls watching. And as we're leaving the pool area, she's on the ladder, like kind of practicing to do the same thing. And it's like, you wonder if that little impression is like set into that child's mind and she's going to go on to be like a gymnast or something like that from one little, experience. Yeah.
Well, like even with that, like if with the running too, because coming back to the training aspect, the amount of people have DM'd me and asked me what running app I've been using for training because they see my mileage been putting up every single day on my stories is I can't even count. And you're just influencing so many more people to get active out there, and then they're throwing me out. They're sending me their times to their app.
Yeah.
There's Nike Run app, there's Under Armour app, there's a ton of active stuff, and there's more people that are going outside now to go work out. And one thing about Winnipeg is that we're just so short on our summers.
Yep.
And there's so much things to do in our city that we can do outside.
Yep.
That why don't we just like you said earlier, influence those people to get outside and do some more activities. There's rec league, soccer, football, ultimate, whatever. Run around the park, you can do yoga in the park. I know there's tons of stuff in the city that a lot of people don't know about that we need to start taking advantage of as a whole in the city. And there's a lot of gems in that city that are untapped.
Well, that's a perception thing too, because a lot of people are afraid to go out and try something new and be with a strange group of people. It's like, well, what are people going to think if I go and start doing yoga in the middle of Assiniboine Park? And it's like, well, it doesn't matter what they think. It's like if you're doing something to help yourself get better and it makes you feel good, like it doesn't matter. The perception isn't important. It shouldn't have any bearing on how you feel or how you decide to live your life.
And I find, like that's one of the things is that a lot of individuals get scared of when they try something new. But you know what? That community will accept you with open arms if you're kind, polite, and have this humbleness to yourself. They will take you in with an open arms. That comes back to Sparta. That comes back to our Spartan races. That comes back to yoga. I've gone to gym settings where there's guys that are 3 times the size of me that lift 3 times the weight of I am, and they've opened I'm like, hey, can you teach me how to lift that? And they're like, yeah, sure. Or I've people come up to me and I've helped them out. It's just you need to kind of get out of that comfort zone and just go out there and do it.
Oh yeah.
When my grandmother was younger, actually, she joined a biking club, and they left from Winnipeg and went to Ontario and went around all of the Great Lakes and came back. And so that was just like a bicycle club. And you go there and you just set up tents and you go camping. And so that's also something that you can do in Winnipeg. There's lots of clubs that do that. They do it like going up into hikes up north and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, it's great when there's communities around and there's people. It's really you just have to put yourself out there and be open to going there and doing the thing. And I actually found that was one big evolution in my own life was when, and even in the past year, one of the biggest parts of my development has just been be willing to do it alone. And sometimes that's easier said than done. It's tough when your friend groups, I would say especially in my young 20s when everybody just wants to go out and party and everybody, you have your certain things that you want to do. Is Terry going to do a handstand right now? What am I missing?
Maybe. He just handstands randomly all the time, so who knows?
I was just waiting for something special.
It's like a weather prediction. Random handstands may occur.
Random Terry handstands.
swallow your beer.
But that's
gonna be 30.
but that's one thing that's going to be
It's a weather vane. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
But unlike the weathermen, that's 100% chance it's going to happen.
100% chance of Terry handstands.
That's 100% chance.
Well, just wait till we get down to the pool. It'll be happening.
Oh yeah, he's got to do them around the pool. Yeah,
Talking-
wet floor is what I want when I'm doing handstands and walking.
Definitely.
You're talking me
around.
up there, bud.
Yeah, I forgot where I was in that.
Anything
So,
I'm talking you
oh,
down.
I know, I remember now.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I just
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
there's a lot of laughing going on in the
Yeah, it's all
background.
good.
This is all- no, but just in terms of what there's
A lot of
Just-
beers have been drank tonight.
giggle factory happening right now. So all of a
We've
sudden
gotten
we've
to the
lost
magic
Austin.
number.
We've gotten to the magic number. I think we've hit the
Cheers.
zone now. This is the beer pong zone. This is the danger zone. Anybody else
This is-
watch Archer?
This is the sliding into.
Have you tried cocaine?
This is the sliding into DM zone. Is what this is.
Well,
A lot of DM
the danger
slides lately.
danger zone is definitely
Not
my
too close to the
zone.
mic.
Yeah, this is life. This is a good life.
This is a
Spartan
good
life.
chat.
Spartan life.
Sitting on a sectional in a hotel, drinking beer, after a ridiculous weekend.
There's no place I'd rather be.
Honestly, same
Weekend's
here.
not over yet.
The weekend's
true,
not
there's
over yet.
Well, for
Tristan-
some of us.
Tristan just
I gotta
dropped the
go back
bomb on
tomorrow
us.
morning.
For us today,
Yeah. I wish it's funny though because you wish this could go on, but it's almost nice to know that you got to go back to the grind and do it all over again, and then there's going to be another trip where you can push yourself that much harder or test yourself against the track again.
Iceland.
Hmm?
Iceland.
Iceland.
Iceland for Terry, but I can honestly say, Riley, I might have to join you to Calgary.
Calgary.
Calgary, shout out Calgary.
I heard somebody from Calgary say Calgary, so
What?
from now
Uh-oh.
on,
That's not a thing.
it's a thing now.
Calgary? Who says that?
Who was it? I think somebody was around me when they said it.
Yeah, no,
and I
I'm
called them out too. I
I'm
was
down.
like,
I'm
"Oh,
pretty-
you're from Calgary.
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 What's that all about?" See, maybe, maybe
Just
that's
over yonder.
just a little bit over yonder. Maybe that's where the Canadian accent comes from. Is
Maybe.
Calgary,
Maybe
because
Calgary.
if they're saying Calgary and about, and
How about that?
that's about
I
right.
came from Calgary. We don't say Calgary. We say Calgary.
Well, I beg to differ because that guy seemed very Calgarian.
Maybe he's new.
Maybe he's new.
Ah, man. That's it. Back to Winnipeg.
Back to Winnipeg.
Back to Winnipeg.
For you, anyways.
Just
I'm
for
off
me.
to the hot springs in Banff. I'll tell you that.
I'm not going back until next Sunday, so
Lucky you.
yeah.
Lucky you.
Whitewater rafting on Thursday.
Ooh.
Woo. Talking about active.
I've always wanted to go whitewater rafting. We might have
Me
to do that,
too.
Terry. I'll be honest.
Golden BC.
It'd be sweet.
Anybody have some good stories?
Some good stories. I'm not the story guy. My stories are a little too much for this podcast, I think.
Hey, tell the stories you're gonna tell.
No, I don't know if that's be the change. appropriate.
Change.
Listen, I think everybody goes through a growth process and you have to learn who you are. And when you're this goes back to what I was talking about too, which in your early 20s I think it's all these times you go through in life where you have to go through growth. And a lot of that is sometimes you get involved with friend groups, and unfortunately you evolve different places and have to get past where you currently are. To me, that happened in high school, where I just felt I was evolving a different way, and had to get rid of some people in my life that I felt were negative influences. And then I got to a next point where, again, it was a little bit self-brought on, but it was the lifestyle I was living, playing football at a high level, but also not treating myself very well, going out to bars and making bad decisions and waking up in strange
I can relate
places.
to that.
And it's, I don't regret it for the fact that I am who I am today, but I made decisions that I regret because they went against my morals and against who I genuinely feel I am as a person. And it's nice to feel in a place now that I'm more myself than I've ever been, and I also feel more in charge of my life than I've ever been. And that's growth, and that's a beautiful thing, and that's a great place to be in.
I think that almost in a way it's nice to know that you did make that change, and you're not, you went from worse to better, and that's what it's all about. That's what life's about, is getting better.
But during those life experiences, you would have never been able to change without experiencing those experiences.
And that's why I said I'm not regretful for it. But I just, it's tough. You want people to learn from your experiences, and I felt that I was good with that. I learned from a lot of people around me growing up, but I still happen to make some of the same mistakes, which you have to learn through experience. But and I also find I have to evolve because of, you go through certain experiences, and sometimes you cut yourself off from certain things because of them. So everybody has those. Everybody has certain barriers. Everybody has certain imbalances. Everybody has certain intricacies and things that they have to sort out to become more of a full person. And some people never find that, or just they'll self-medicate, or they'll drink every night. They'll smoke weed every day. They'll do drugs, whatever it is, to numb the pain, but that never really deals with the actual issues. And so it's, sometimes you have to start from within, or just start with a couple of positive habits, and then you just grow from there, and you evolve from there. And it's, and physical activity is one of those things. I mean, you can even see the extremes in that though too, where it's unhealthy. I've been there before, where I've trained for football, and aesthetically I just get obsessed with who I am in the mirror. And
I can vouch for that. I played hockey too, so
it's weird. It's weird to just be so. I found that I abuse supplements, so things like pre-workout.
I definitely went through that stage with myself too, and
a lot of Viagra. It helped me out in the race yesterday.
I went through that stage too, and honestly, now I other than a protein shake, I think I have a protein shake after breakfast every morning. Other than that, I'm not a supplement guy anymore.
Well, that's a little bit of the paleo theory to me, is just natural. So if it's synthesized in a lab, it's not going to be as healthy as it is from a natural thing. And so it's made me cut out those.
Well, the most important thing I think is that, which I've learned in the past year, is that you kind of like, you need the protein and whatever, but the answer is not, go get a protein shake all the time. The answer might be, eat some more meat, or eat some more whatever protein. If you're a vegetarian, eat some more, wherever you can get your protein from, not eating what you need instead of finding the supplement for what you need.
Yeah. I feel that that's always going to be the better option. Always. Is getting it from natural sources. But I get supplements in certain ones. Even me, I'm thinking in terms of, okay, hit a peak level in Spartan or obstacle course racing or my training. Are there certain things that my body needs that I'm not getting from my natural diet? I try and eat fish, but I'm not. I'm
a fish lover. I love it.
Fish lover.
Just got to throw that out there. I love fish.
I do love fish. I do love fish too.
Does it?
I love fish too, but I find I don't go out of my way to buy fresh stuff or don't catch my own, and so it's frozen. and I don't find it stays together. It's not as delicious as I'd like it to be.
No,
But
I love it.
I try. I try as much as I can, but I'm much more of the red meats and chickens.
Yeah,
and
no. I mean, yeah, steak. Big time steak guy.
Steak and bake.
I'd like to just toss in there. I eat lots of protein, like real protein, like meat, and I get tons of compliments on my hair. And I'm pretty sure it's because I eat so much protein. I don't do a lot of protein shakes. And
It's definitely a factor.
just lots of protein. So for all the girls listening who has really thin hair that doesn't grow and isn't very thick, eat lots of chicken because it helps. It really does.
Love the girls that eat chicken, especially Popeyes.
Shout out to girls that eat chicken.
Shout out to girls that eat chicken. There's a lot of shout outs going around.
They're staring,
There's a lot
Self
of-
Instagrams
That's
and
the thing
girls
today.
that eat chickens.
staring in the
Hashtag
wrong
shout out.
direction.
Shout out Sunday. It has a ring to it. I didn't say it right because I couldn't really remember what day it was. That's
Shout out Sunday.
Shout out Sunday. God's day. The Spartan gods are looking at us. Well, yeah.
It's all good.
I mean, we'll leave that one be.
We'll leave that. We'll leave that.
Moving on.
We could get into. I do think spirituality is an important aspect of life. No, no. This is moving on, but this is on the same topic. I think that spirituality is an important thing in life, and I do think that it goes along the lines of everything that we're talking about too. And it's, to me, it's not a belief in a specific God. It doesn't have to be. It can be, but to me, that's just having that positive
I feel
outlook.
like you should believe
Or
in yourself more than some fake.
What?
well, I mean,
It may not.
It's-
not everybody thinks it's fake.
to me, it is a little bit something outside of yourself, whether it's philosophy, morality, spirituality, religion, whatever you want that to be, but it has to be. I find that the people that are stuck in a pit and can't get out are the people that don't believe in anything. And so if you believe in your power to help other people, if you believe in whether it's a God or religion or it's just
The
being
universe.
a good person, the universe,
That's
and-
one. That's what I've. I mean, I've never been one that's never been religious, but that's kind of something I've put my
Yeah.
belief in. It's just kind of
I've never
universe.
been religious, but I've
Well,
always,
And when I ask, say I'm asking for something from, some people may ask for something from their God. Well, I'll ask for something from the universe. That's my way.
I would say that that's very much my way too, because,
done the same.
well, it is the same thing, but I would say the energy you put out into the world, and I don't believe in karma. The term karma kind of seems silly because you can't expect anything to come back to you. But a lot of my spiritual belief is the fact that you put out energy into the world, and I almost think of it as a tree, and you put out
Mhm.
seeds.
Yeah.
And you have to water those seeds, you have to tend them, you have to care for them, you have to nurture them, and then they can turn into something, and then they can continue to grow. And so that's what you have to do. You have to treat yourself and others like that tree. You have to make sure that they're nourished. You have to make sure that they're taken care of, that they have food on the table, and so if you're doing that and if you're putting that energy out into the world,
People
why
underestimate the power of positivity.
yeah, and if
Well, I
you're
was just
making
gonna
that
say,
positive
like,
difference.
I kind of just believe in positivity and being happy. So if you're gonna compliment somebody and they smile, like that's what makes me happy. Like I don't get anything from it except for the fact that I made that person smile. That might be the only time they'd smile that day, when I caused that. So,
And they might pass it on to someone else.
Yeah,
but that's not why I do it. I do it because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good to see other people being happy.
but those small acts of kindness, people don't even realize how big a difference those can make. I know I think I've told this story before, but that one of my big moments was my mom when I was really little. Just I didn't hold the door open for an elderly couple when we were going into a Perkins, I think. So it was the 90s. But she told me you always hold the door open for people older than you or just people in general. But it's also something that I take pride in now, is just being that nice person that holds the door open and goes out of my way to just do that little thing for somebody or smile at a stranger or whatever it is, because you don't know what those other people are going through, and sometimes that might change their day just that little bit. Maybe they smile, maybe they're that little bit more positive, and maybe that energy can keep them on. And who knows? Who knows the power of small acts of kindness?
The little details make a big difference.
They really do, and especially long term if you're doing that. But I also find that there's a limit to that. You have to make sure that if you put too much energy out into the world and people take from it, sometimes you do get depleted. So I always talk about filling your own cup before you pass it out to others.
It's a give and take.
It's all about law of attraction too. Like what you put out in the universe, you tend to get back.
Very much.
But you can't put it out expecting that you're gonna get it back.
Yeah, there has to be a balance. At the end of the day, you got to look out for yourself as well, because it's what you put out is what you're gonna receive.
The way I've started to look at it recently is that exactly that. You got to kind of what you're gonna put out is what you're gonna receive, and you can hope. Not I don't like hope, but I like faith more than hope. Not that I'm religious or anything, but I just think that hope is something that walks through the fire. Faith is something that jumps over it. And it's if you have faith and something might happen for you, and you can't always be so critical about how it may come to pass. You kind of have to just let it happen and go with what's going on.
You also can't put all your faith in one basket. You also there's got to be action to it as well. Like you can't just, I hope this is going to happen, or I have faith this is going to happen, right?
Yes.
Without
sure.
action, you're not going to get in.
Yeah, and you have to work for it,
So,
but it may not always come the way you exactly expect it to. But that's kind of just you gotta.
I think one of the biggest things that you can do is ask yourself those questions. And so the thing with prayer in any kind of sense, if you're even thinking of the issues or things that are going on in your life, are sometimes the biggest, because then you can start to dissect that problem or start to dive in and actually deal with what's going on. I don't know what I'm missing right now.
It's nothing. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about
Stop playing with my Instagram.
This Instagram.
Was that mine? Where'd it go?
It's gone. Terry, your phone's gone.
Fuck.
Everybody's staring at it now.
Yeah.
Sorry for the bad language, everyone.
No, it's okay.
A curse is a curse.
How long are we at?
We're almost at 2 hours.
Holy shit.
We're, we can finish this thing anytime, but
I'm ready. I'm ready to wrap it up.
ready to wrap it up?
I think so.
That's
That
I'm good
was a
with that
good
too.
note. That
Yeah.
was a good note.
Finish on some spirituality, feeling
Sweet.
good, talking about the universe.
Yeah.
She's always looking
So
That was a good talk.
good.
That turned out good.
So
a little rough at the
here
beginning.
with
Turned out good.
honestly, that happens every single time. You got to get to a point where you're comfortable
Yeah,
and sink into a conversation. But I'd like to thank Austin, Terry, Tristan, Tony, Jarrett, Ashleigh. God, there's a lot of people in
And
this room.
on
This is-
behalf of all of us, I'd like to thank you, Riley. Great show, man.
Cheers,
Thank you,
thank
Riley.
you.
Thanks for
So
the
this is
opportunity.
Be the Change.
You made it easy.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Cool.
Follow on Instagram.
Good job on your beasts. Also,
Thank you.
we
thank
didn't
you,
talk
thank
about
you.
that enough.
Follow all these gentlemen on Instagram and lady. Well, I don't know what her Instagram
Should we
is.
start naming them off?
I mean, if you want to, but we could also just put it in the show notes as well, if
let's
that's a
do
little
that.
bit easier.
Let's do that.
They're all stand-up gentlemen and lady. And you know what? Couple of Spartans, but you know what? The amazing part of this weekend is feeling like there's a community of like-minded people who love fitness, but are genuinely awesome people inside and out. And that, I mean, from the bottom of my heart. So on that note, until next time, be the change. Take care.